This was the first tape I've ever made 10 years ago.
Okay, Mikey. Well, he listening to his tape. He looks mighty stupid, and he listening to tell him we all got our new stuff, and I'm glad to get it. And we are now getting ready to go to the movies, and when we go, just have fun, and then I'll come back and write about it. And the day I got it was Saturday, June, no, September 24th. Have breaking news today that we just received from our telegraph. There are now 5,000 houses that are now destroyed.
And that's really where it all began. 10 years ago when I made my first cassette tape. I was just sitting down here reading and listening to these old cassette tapes that I made. And for 10 years, I've been documenting. This right here is a binder filled with notes, theories, short stories, journal entries. This bag right here filled with cassette tapes. Obviously not all from 2005, but just throughout the years, which kind of, I don't know. I don't sometimes even think of it as an activity because it's just been something I've been doing. But when I listen to myself, and as you hear me, I'm 13 years old, so I'm at the brink of adolescence. I'm rushing. I have endorphins. There's a lot of emotion, just happening. So, but I just sounded so different, and I just obviously it's been a lot of activity. And what I've come to understand is that transition is an amazing experience. We all go through them eventually. Some of us more frequent than others, but when you take something as big as a hurricane, just thinking about what a hurricane is and how I think a hurricane is pure in its intent. It's an act of nature. It's an act of God. It's just something that nature has to do sometimes, and you can't really blame nature for that. Um, but the effect is horrendous in a sense. Think of the many lives lost. I said 5,000 in the cassette tape, but that was at the time of when I recorded it. It's been 800,000 actually homes lost to Hurricane Katrina. Or just think about earthquakes around the world. Hurricanes can provide such detriment. You know, um, just seeing what you remember as a beautiful house filled with precious memories destroyed by mold and dust. I just remember going back when we first went back to my grandmother's house. She lived in Orleans Parish. I'm from Gretna. So in Jefferson Parish, we didn't really suffer any physical damage. Um, well, I would say we suffered physical damage. We did, but we didn't suffer any flood damage. But my grandmother, her house was filled with water. And so by the time we couldn't get through the door because it was so rusty and the mold and all of the furniture was pushed to the front. So I was the only one small enough to go through the window. And I remember they put me through the window, and they put me through the kitchen window, and I, I couldn't, the smell, and just being able to push everything and seeing how it just looked atrocious. It was like, wow, because I was just there just weeks ago. Um, just seeing how all of that changed in an instant, and having to see my grandmother expression when she found out all of her photographs were gone and destroyed. And not that she always said that I don't care about physical things, but memories are irreplaceable. She really values photographs, obviously, and just her programs for the different places she's been. I mean, there's a lot of loss. I can exercise and talk forever about you know physical stuff. I mean, I was 13 years old, and even though our house wasn't destroyed, there were looters and people were stealing. And our neighbor, someone stole basically my PlayStation, and I was mad. My brother mad. My mom, her ring. Just I can speak all day about the things that were stolen. Most importantly, the lives. I think is what you know, really brings the trouble in a sense, because it's like people who you saw, who you didn't think would not be there anymore. Um, just happening in an instant, and I lost a lot. But in the middle of all of this going on, I was learning so much. And I'm thankful for the people that have helped my family. Um, Everyone has their own story. I think, in essence, for 10 years, I've learned a lot. I've been a lot of places. When it first happened, I couldn't completely remove New Orleans from me, and it's still a big piece of me. But now I'm able to really look at it really as a home and not really a place I want to vacation. Because after the hurricane, things have changed, and before I was very eager of going back, but now I'm not at that point in life. It's a beautiful place, a beautiful city, beautiful culture, awesome food. Oh, however, I'm not supposed to be there right now, but it's a really cool place to visit. And it feels like that ever since Hurricane Katrina, just the energy changed there for me. I used to always go back during the summer and spend time with my grandfather, and he's no longer there. My grandfather, for the longest, was living in New Orleans, and he was one of those people like, I ain't ever leaving New Orleans. You know, every once in a while you meet somebody that's like, I ain't ever leaving. And a lot of my friends went back, you know. Our family really decided to move there after, I don't know, my parents talked like they didn't want to stay in New Orleans anyway. My grandmother just came with us. She didn't leave initially when it happened. And that's a whole other story. I talked about some of the detail-y kind of stuff 5 years ago, which I'll link in the description. But the drama of a natural occurrence, whether it be a hurricane or a tornado or a volcano, whatever it is, it's always going to be laced with obstacles, trials, and drama and trauma. But I'm just thankful that I've met wonderful people to help me along in this journey that have blossomed my understanding of what life is, and just what a story is. And so I'm glad that I've participated in this story, and thank you for watching. Peace.